the president of the Overseas Press Club of America, and this building is our headquarters, the gathering place of the top foreign correspondents of our time who cover every corner of the globe in their search to bring the truth to you. From their personal files, we tell the stories behind the headlines. What you're about to see really happened, and the people portrayed really lived. Here's a story told by Helen Zotis while serving with the Associated Press in Greece.
As the civil war in Greece between communist and nationalist was reaching its climax, guerrilla forces under the Red Commander-in-Chief General Marcos infiltrated through the mountain passes of the north. Raiding, ambushing, bringing terror and death to all who opposed them. Brother fought brother. No man knew who was his friend or enemy. Salonika, second city of Greece, just a few miles from the Yugoslav border. Officially a nationalist city, but through the mountain passes or across the busy harbor, it was easy for the enemy to send supplies, or guns, or men. On May the 8th, George Polk from Fort Worth, Texas, age 35, former Navy flyer in World War II, now a foreign correspondent, radio reporter, and magazine writer, came down to the waterfront on a secret and dangerous mission. A man dedicated to the truth, loved by neither side because he had found things in each to criticize and had the courage to say them. Men will take great risks to get the truth. Perhaps George Polk would succeed where no one else had even dared to try. Earlier that afternoon, George Polk was having a cup of coffee at the Hotel Salonika, the favorite gathering place of government officials, foreign representatives, and overseas correspondents.
I think I better be getting along.
Why don't you stick around and meet Helen Zotis?
Oh, that's the girl with the AP, isn't it?
That's right, yes. She's the only newspaper woman accredited to the Greek army. Swell-looking gal. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, young lady. You look beat.
I am.
Oh, this is Jeff Pritchard of the London Daily Mail. Helen Zotis.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Coffee?
Please, huh?
Waiter, one coffee, please.
Now, what part of America are you from?
Boston. Really Boston. Everything the name implies.
And how'd you come to get into this business?
Oh, that was easy. My father didn't want me to go to work in New York. He said it was too dangerous.
Where you been?
I was up in Iovania, one of the little villages in the mountains where they kidnapped the children. Remember?
Yeah, sure do.
28,000 of them, wasn't it?
Altogether, yeah. Taken at gunpoint. I talked to the mothers. One of them had a baby snatched out of her arms. There was nothing any of them could do, just watch their children being loaded into trucks and driven away. They still think they'll get them back.
Fat chance.
What's it like up there?
Cold. I have 2 layers on under this. Last night I could have used 3.
Any idea where General Marcos' headquarters are now?
No, he keeps shifting them. See those mountains up there?
Mount Olympus, the home of the gods.
Yeah, and his too, from what I hear. Have you seen him?
No. He doesn't like the prying eyes of the press.
It's too bad.
How long will you be, Andreas?
About an hour, not more. Now, don't worry, Mama. I'll be home for dinner.
Unless you meet a beautiful girl.
There'll be a beautiful girl waiting for me. At home.
Hello there.
Hi, a friend of yours?
As an acquaintance, Mr. Bacallus of the Aegean News.
Oh, Zotis.
How are you? This is Mr. Pritchard.
Bill?
And this is Mr. George Polk.
Of course, I know the name. I'm very pleased to meet you, sir.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Helen's just been telling us about a village where all the children were kidnapped.
Iovania.
And the surrounding villages, too. Someday they will be brought to justice, you will see.
This is a crime that dwarfs any in history. The ruthlessness, the skill to populate a political party of the next generation with kidnapped children. 28,000 new party members in 15 years. Forgive me. I know you're as horrified as I am, but you're not Greeks. For me, there is no greater shame. Waiter.
George and I had arranged to meet on Saturday for lunch, but he was an hour and a half late. I wasn't worried. I guess newspapermen are the only people in the world who can keep a girl waiting without explanations.
Miss Sothers, would you be kind enough to accompany us to security headquarters? Major Macreadis would like to see you.
What's up?
Well,
Miss Sothers, can I be of any help?
Well, thank you.
What's the trouble? My name is Bacolas. I'm a fellow journalist. I should like to offer whatever assistance I can.
no assistance is necessary.
Well, at least she might encounter language difficulties. May I not, as a Greek and a friend of hers, come with her?
Yes, you may come if you wish.
I wasn't worried at getting a call from Major Macreadis. He was very friendly with the press and often tipped us off when a story was about to break.
Allow me.
Thank you.
I should like to ask you about a colleague of yours, an American named George Polk. You do know him, you?
Of course. I was supposed to have lunch with him today.
Have you an idea about any difficulties he might be in?
Difficulties? What kind?
Enmities he might have provoked, personal or otherwise?
No. Why?
Would you be good enough to look at this? You recognize it, of course.
Well, sure. It's a United States War Department press identification card.
Signed by George Polk. It was mailed to the 3rd Police Station and then forwarded in the ordinary way to me.
Mailed to the police?
In this envelope.
But it wasn't sent by George.
Why, you seem to be sure of that.
Well, it's not his handwriting. Look, there's his signature.
Oh, I was hoping you'd be able to help us.
I'm sorry. I can't really think of any explanation except, maybe he dropped it someplace.
It is possible, of course. If anything occurs to you, you let us know.
Of course.
Good day, Miss Santos.
Good day. Oh, thanks for waiting.
Miss Sothers, I don't wish to annoy you, but I would so much like to be helpful. Are you in any trouble?
No, I'm all right.
Good.
It's George Polk I'm worried about.
George Polk?
Well, his press identification card has been sent to the police.
Oh, what can it mean?
I'm trying not to think what it could mean. For 5 days, nothing happened. No hint, no clue, no sign of George Polk anywhere. Then on Sunday, May 13th at 8 o'clock, 2 fishermen saw the body of a man floating in the waters of Salonika Bay. On May 16th, all the correspondents in Salonika were called into Major Macreadis' office for a press conference.
I've called you here to inform you that we now have more than 300 men investigating this case, questioning boatmen, fishermen, taxi drivers, tavern owners, waiters.
There's no doubt about the identification of the body.
None. A wallet was found containing, well, I believe the Americans call it a dog tag. The name was quite clear. There were also $150 and some gold sovereigns, which eliminates robbery as a motive.
Is there any report from the autopsy, Major?
Good morning, Miss Sotos. Yes, he was shot at point-blank range to the back of the head. He was blindfolded. The hands and feet were tied by 10 meters of ordinary hemp rope. There was no chafing at the ankles or wrists, which indicates that there was no struggle.
Have you searched his room? Were there any clues?
There was an unposted letter addressed to the American Edward R. Murrow. I shall read it. My reason for coming north is to get into direct contact with General Marcos, the communist leader. I will go outside Salonika to any village they designate, blindfolded if necessary. Now, what we must find out is who was interested in killing George Polk and why. Who was the last person to see him alive and who were the other men in the boat. That'll be all, gentlemen. Good morning.
That's all very fine. There should be more.
This was no longer just a local crime. The death of George Polk aroused public indignation throughout the world. The Overseas Writers Association appointed a committee of investigation with General William Donovan, former head of OSS, as counsel. The Greek government offered a reward of $25,000 for the capture of George Polk's murderer. A few days later, I received another invitation to visit Major McCready's.
You had coffee with George Polk the afternoon before his disappearance.
Yes.
What did you talk about?
Well, nothing very much. We discussed the abduction of those poor little Greek children. That was all.
Who else was there?
Well, there was a man from the London Daily Mail.
Anyone else?
No. Wait. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Bacolas. I introduced him to George.
What is it, Miss Otos? You seem to be remembering something.
Well, it's just occurred to me that his paper scooped us all on the story of George's disappearance.
Well, that's just good reporting, isn't it?
Well, yes, but none of the rest of us thought of it as a disappearance. We merely assumed that George was out of town on a story.
Well, that's interesting. Have you seen Bacolas lately?
Well, that's putting it mildly. He seems to have appointed himself my guardian. He calls me, he comes around to my office, asks me out to dinner.
Well, there could be, shall we say, a natural explanation.
Thank you, but I haven't noticed that. No, as a matter of fact, the conversation always seems to come around to one subject. George Polk.
Is he trying to pump you for information, do you think?
Could be.
Well, thank you, Miss Otos. You've been a great help. You've suggested a possible line of inquiry.
Good afternoon, Major.
Good afternoon, Miss Otos. What a pity all reporters are not as attractive. I envy you your assignment.
Major McCready's was a man who wasted no time. The same afternoon, he paid a visit to the home of Andreas Bacolas.
I apologize for inconveniencing you with the formality of a search, Madame Bacolas.
You are welcome to search. We are not ashamed of our belief. I assure you, you are wasting your time.
Well, that's one of the hazards of our profession. Do you happen to know an American correspondent named George Polk?
He was that poor young American who was found in the harbor, wasn't he?
Have you ever heard your son make any comment on this?
I think not.
Have you ever discussed it yourself?
Yes. But all I could think of was that somewhere this poor young man had a mother, and how she must have felt when she heard of his death. But what has this got to do with my son?
He is in the same profession. I'm afraid it's necessary to check on everyone. With your permission, we shall take these papers back with us and examine them at our leisure.
As you wish.
Then you'll be kind enough to sign the release?
Really?
Oh, merely a statement that you have permitted us to remove the documents.
I wish to protest.
Be quiet. You'll do no protesting. You've lied and lied and lied. Sit down. And take your hat off. Why haven't you told me that you're a communist?
Because I am not a
You
communist.
have been one.
No!
Mr. Bacolas, you're a very stupid man. We have here positive proof. Now what do you have to say?
I will tell you the truth.
Finally.
I was a communist, but that was 2 years ago. When I found out what they were doing to my country, I tore up my card and broke free. I've had nothing to do with communism since, except to fight it as fervently as you yourself are doing.
What do you know of George Polk?
I was introduced to him once.
Then explain this to me.
What about it? I've never seen it before.
Mr. Bacolas, your mother addressed this envelope.
It's not true.
She signed a release form for papers taken from your apartment. Our expert assures us that the handwriting, the pen, and the ink are the same. Well?
At the time, there seemed no reason for her to refuse. I had no wish to involve anyone else. But you leave me no alternative. I will tell you how my mother came to address that envelope. Helen Zotos asked her to.
I was covering a story in Athens and was having a peaceful cup of coffee with another newspaper man at a sidewalk cafe close to the temple of Hephaestus at the foot of the Acropolis when a jeep drove up and a policeman ordered me to come with him. No smiles this time. Now they were really serious. As we drove through the heart of Athens to the airport, I asked them what it was all about, but they refused to answer.
Someone has accused you of using your privileges as a foreign correspondent to conspire with the enemies of the Greek government.
That's not true.
Possibly not. But you must understand it is part of our duties to investigate fully a charge of such a nature. Furthermore, you're being accused of causing to be sent to us an envelope containing the identity card of the late George Polk.
But that's utterly ridiculous. What possible motive could I have?
To compromise this government with your country and stop American aid.
But I am an American myself, and George Polk was my friend.
The party knows no frontiers, nor ties of friendship. I'm afraid your American citizenship will prove of small value if this is true. But, Miss Otos, neither my government nor I are accusing you. But if you would prefer to answer my questions in the presence of a lawyer...
What would I need a lawyer for?
We will see. Sit down, please. Is this the envelope you say Miss Zotos asked your mother to address for her?
Yes.
I did? When?
On the night of May the 8th.
Where?
My apartment. You telephoned me at midnight? It was a little after midnight. You said you had to see me. You arrived by taxi.
Why should I ask your mother to address an envelope for me?
Because you can't write Greek.
That's another lie. I have never been to this man's apartment, and I have never met his mother in my life.
Miss Otos, please
An
don't...
interesting situation. Two journalists pledged to tell the truth, and each accuses the other of lying. Do you deny that you just returned from a visit to enemy territory on the morning of George Polk's murder?
I had been to Iovania.
Where you met General Marcos?
No, but I wanted to.
Why?
Because every correspondent wants to, for a story, of course.
When you get back, you go and meet Polk. He leaves secretly and is killed. You seek to point a finger of suspicion on a Greek journalist whose previous membership of the party is now a matter of record. And you compromise his mother by getting her to write an incriminating document. So, two birds with one stone.
How many times do I have to tell you? I have never met that man's mother in my life.
Will you sit here? Come in, please.
Mama.
Andreas, my boy, are you all right? What is happening?
It's all right. It's all right, Mama.
Will you kindly be seated? Madame, does the name Helen Zottos mean anything to you?
She's the American girl who is a correspondent.
Can you describe her to me?
Young, dark-haired, very pretty.
Turn around. Is this Helen Zottos?
Of course. You remember her, Mama.
Yes, I remember her.
She is a complete stranger to me.
She's tried to deny that she
Sit
came...
down, all of you. Did you address this envelope, Madame Bacolas?
Yes,
Do you know what was in it?
I didn't ask.
I want you to understand me clearly. Whoever got you to address this envelope is implicated in the murder of George Polk. This young lady has been accused. Search your heart, madame. For the answers you give to my questions may send her before a firing squad. Did Miss Zottos ask you to address this envelope?
It's a long time ago. I can't remember.
Did your son ask you to?
I'm ill, I'm old.
Did anyone ask you to address this envelope? Think carefully, madame, before you answer me. If nobody asked you, if you addressed it yourself of your own free will, then I must arrest you on a charge of being an accessory to murder.
Yes, I addressed it of my own free will.
No. No, she didn't. I won't let you torture her with your dirty, capitalistic tricks. You leave her alone. She's not to blame. I made her do it. Yes. I am a member of the party. I still obey orders, and I am proud of it.
Quite a hero, aren't you? You must be proud. Proud of betraying your country, proud of murder, but not too proud to hide behind two women's skirts. Take this hero away. You understand, Miss Zottos? I had to do all this to make him confess. We never doubted your innocence.
The trial was held on April 21st. Bacolas was found guilty of conspiracy to murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment. His mother was acquitted. In recognition of George Polk's sacrifice, the George Polk Memorial Award is given annually for the best reporting requiring exceptional courage and enterprise abroad. And in the Overseas Press Club Memorial Library, these plaques commemorate the names of 80 journalists. George Polk is one of them. Ernie Pyle, H.R. Knickerbocker, Gene Simmons, and all the others. The inscription reads, "These colleagues died serving a free press for a free world."